Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are going to be looking at the Operation S.U.M.M.E.R Stage 2, and because it's quite complicated, this video is going to be dedicated to that. I'm going to do a video later today talking about my tips and tricks for the second stage, but understand a lot of it is going to be around the idea of mentality and also, confidence, to be quite honest. So it might be worth watching even if you're dealing with some other issues in your life. Anyway, Operation S.U.M.M.E.R, Engineering School, hello Java. They've decided that they've put up a news article which is going through it, explaining how it works. And what I'll do is we'll go through the article, how it all works, and then I'll show you how it looks in-game and how it works in-game, and also give you some tips to help you with understanding the information and going from there. So the first bit is obviously this is stage 2 of Operation S.U.M.M.E.R. If you haven't completed stage 1 with at least getting the blueprints, you have to do that first before you're able to do stage 2. Moving on to the stage 2 idea though, to make these tanks, you need to create parts from the materials gathered in combat, combine those parts to make modules, assemble the modules to create your tank coupon, exchange your coupon for a tank, or sell it on the market, depending on what you want to do. So those are the basic, very basic 4 steps, but there's a lot more going on here. So the key components are the blueprints. You should have got these in stage 1, so we're not going to go through it. The materials are a basic component, and these are represented in-game as these right here. So as you can see, these are the materials for the T-34E assembly. If you go to the IS-7, which I haven't started yet, then you can also get these. These are done for the T-34E, which remember, you have to build the T-34E before starting the IS-7, because in order to get half of the IS-7, you have to complete the T-34E. So it is better just to get the T-34E out of the way, so then you can concentrate on the IS-7. So in order to get these materials for the T-34E, you need to play games of rank 2 to 3, also with a battle activity of 50%, and you are able to get 1 to 3 parts, or materials I should say, sorry, out of these games. Now if we go to my battle activity, will it show in economics? Unfortunately not. But basically I've been ranging from getting 1 or 2 or 3. I've been playing personally tank arcade battles just to see if there's a timer on it. And there seems to be some kind of timer involved, so if you get if you get materials out of a battle and then you quickly go into another one, die quickly, get the activity, then there is some kind of timer on it, so you can't just keep recycling those types of battles to try and stop people from gaming the system. So on top of the fact that you have to play battles, there's also some artificial timer involved, so you can't just scam the system. So just play the game normally, whether it's realistic or arcade or simulator, and you will get the materials after every match, as long as it takes, a certain period of time. It's not as much of a stomp, and you'll get 1 to 3 materials for the T-34E, and then when you move on to the IS-7, which you have to do in rank 4 to 6 battles, then I believe you get 5 to 7 parts. 2 to 5 parts for the IS-7 materials in ranks 4 to 6 battles. So for the T-34E, you get 1 to 3. For the IS-7, you get 2 to 5. The RNG element is annoying, I understand. Do not get frustrated by it. It will balance out over time. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. When it comes to that, this is the easy part, gaining the materials. So the next part is the more complicated one. Once you get these materials, you have to use them to create parts. And once you get the parts, you use them to create modules. So in the case of the T-34E, a part would be the caterpillar track, or it would be the DT machine gun, or it would be these that I have created for you earlier. The final drive is a material, and it's a part, the engine clutch, and then the band brake. And what you do is you put these together, to assemble these, the blue ones up here. And once you put together the blue ones, then you can use them to put into other rare ones, as you can see here. Then you can create other parts. So you can create the hull, and then you create the turret of the T-34. You put them together, and what you get is a T-34E. Simple as that, really. It's not that complicated. It's very similar to the April Fool's event. Where it differs from that event is the recipes idea. So the recipes idea is the curveball. It's another RNG element. So let's say you pick T-34 transmission and you go, okay, how do I create this? Well, once you have a bunch of materials, now don't change your materials into parts until you've had a look at the recipes, because otherwise you're going to end up with a bunch of parts that you're not going to use, and you can't sell them on the marketplace either. So what you do is you have a look at T-34 transmission, you have a look at recipes, and this is what's needed to create this. So let's say you decide that this is the recipe you want to go with, and to create this machine. Understand that if you pick the wrong recipe, then you have to deconstruct it and try and build it again. So it is key to get the correct recipe out of this ace. Now, how are we going to help you with this? Because this is required, help. The thing is, across the board, it seems like these recipes are standard for everyone. So the same recipe for me to create the T-34 transmission will be the same recipe for you. So what we've done on the TEC hub is, if we go down, then we have created this Operation S.U.M.M.E.R tab. This is for general talk, and we've created this moderator room, as you can see, with a wonderful picture. And we are going to list all of the stuff you need to build these machines. So you can see for the engine, what do they call it? Module. This is what you need. For the transmission, this is the recipe you need. For the cannon, this is what you need. For the chassis, this is what you need. We're going to update this when we know that the stuff is completed and it's correct. So if you are struggling with recipes, or you don't want to deal with it, you don't want to deal with the RNG element of building stuff and finding out it's not true, then go to Operation S.U.M.M.E.R Cooking Book on the Discord and you can have a look at them. We're going to just do that all the time. We're going to be updating it as it goes. So with that said, you don't have to worry about the recipe element as long as you're on the Discord. Now, if you're not on the Discord, there are some other places you can go to. The War Thunder Reddit are working together to be able to do this, and also there's a guy called FsAviX who is also working to work out which pieces are to create each of the machines, or each of the parts, as we can go. So what he's also worked out is the parts needed per component for each of the things is 137 in total. So you need to get 137 parts in order to create everything for the T-34E. Now, it is worth saying for the IS-7, it's probably going to be double this, but understand that the drop rate for the materials is higher for that, so it should take around about twice as much time for it, maybe even a little bit less depending on the drop rates. On top of this, all of this, there is also rare parts. So you can see here, this uncommon, this T-34 armored hull. This is a rare drop that can happen in games while you are playing. Now, if you don't get this rare drop, by the time that you have all the other parts to create the T-34 hull, then all I can say is I am very sorry, and you're either going to have to wait for it or you're going to have to buy it. But according to Gaijin themselves, if we have a look at the rare drops over here, the rare parts, you cannot create them by yourself, but you can get them in battle like simple materials. Rare parts can be traded and purchased on the market. In addition, rare parts can be disassembled into a small number of ordinary parts. So with this With this shown here, what you need to create with the T-34 hull, you need a bunch of modules in the fact of the V2 engine, the T-34 transmission. You also need some normal parts, such as the elevation mechanism, which you create using the materials, and you also need this rare drop. So there are 3 components here. You use the materials to create these components. Then use the components to create the modules. Then use the modules to create the hull or the turret of the machine that you are creating. That is how this works. And then there's also rare drops to do with some of the higher up parts, such as the T-34 hull and also the turret when we get into it. That is the pecking order that we're looking at right now. And this is all based on the materials that you get out of every random battle that you play. So remember, all you have to do is play random battles to get these materials over time. Now for me, looking at the amount of work you have to do for this, it looks like it's going to be about 10 hours a day, 6 days worth of grinding. So over the 10-day period, about 6 hours a day. Now, if that's not good enough for you, or you can't put in that time, then there is the marketplace, and if you can't pay for it, I'm so sorry. I really am. Because it sucks. It really does. And there's nothing else I can talk about. There's nothing else I can say, really. I'm really, really sad about it. But I'm just going to leave that to the side right now and focus on, how to assemble it. When it comes to the IS-7, as I already said, you get the IS-7 hull blueprint out of the bat if you have done the Operation S.U.M.M.E.R Stage 1 tasks, and you can see that here, the scheme for the hull of the IS-7. In order to get the turret blueprint, you have to obtain the item, the T-34E. So you have to complete the T-34E. Once you have done that, you can start building the IS-7. Now, since the hull and the turret are 2 separate things, I think it is fair to say that each of them will take as much time as it does for the T-34E. Now, this is not confirmed. This is just a guess, since that would make complete sense to me. So if we talk about if you just want to do the T-34E, it's not going to take you that much time, whereas the IS-7, it's going to be a hell of a grind. That's basically how it works when we talk about the different parts. There are 4 different things. The materials, which make components, which make modules, which make stuff like hulls and turrets. And then rares are thrown in as a curveball in order to make these. It's as simple as that. And if you need any more help with the construction of it, the Discord is available with many people on it. And also, if you have any questions, just ping me on the Discord, and I'll make sure to respond to you. Because we, as a community, we need to collectively work on this, right? I understand I'm a very individualistic person. I believe heavily in, the independence of the individual in moving forward and making your own way in the world. But in this sense, in this time, we need to be collectivized and working together as a group, being optimistic, being positive, being confident in order to get this done. Because instead, we will fall into a very individualistic, pessimistic hole, which we will all just perish in, to be honest, or get angry, or get annoyed, and instead we need to work together. This event is designed for collaboration, so let's collaborate. Let's get everybody together, and let's collaborate. Moving on, assembly is basically what I talked about here, and they go through it in slightly more detail in words than I did, but that's basically it when it comes to it. It's very much a staging process, but just don't build anything until you are completely, until you know the recipe outright. And the ways you can find it is either on the War Thunder Reddit, the War Thunder Live account, FsAviX, or the TEC Discord. We're going to work very hard today to work out how to build everything for you. And if that means I have to do a bit of trial and error on my end, that's fine. We'll do it, and we'll get it done. A lot of it seems quite self-explanatory when we actually talk about it makes sense, you know, if if that makes sense. Like, if we look at the recipes for the V2 engine, the one which is true is the one where you need an engine without attachments, and then you got one fuel pump, one oil pump, an electric starter, and a generator. That makes sense overall. That makes sense collectively. But if you need a band brake, or if you need final drives, it doesn't really make sense in an engine sense. So you can work it out in a more realistic way if you feel like it, or you could help the hive mind on the Discord and sort everything out. As I said, the next video will be a tips and tricks, but that's basically how you do this. Godspeed. It's going to be a long one. If you need emotional, physical, mental support, we're all here for you. Let's get it all done. I'll see you next time. Hello, I'm back again. Sorry about that. A few things that I missed out at the bottom of the article is the fact that these items for assembly will disappear in 7 days after the end of the event. So if you want to sell them, you got to sell them in those 7 days. Also, the crows are being annoying. Second of all, they can be exchanged for war bonds, so that's pretty cool. And the number of battles that you can do for these for the materials is limited to 50 per day for rank 2 to 3 and 50 for rank 4 to 6. Now, this is easily enough to be able to get parts for each, but just understand that if you hit the 50 per day on the rank 2 and 3 battles and you're not getting any more parts, just switch over to rank 4 to 6, but if you're playing 100 to 150 battles a day, just relax, okay? You don't need to do that many battles, just relax. Otherwise, you're gonna burn yourself out. This is, as I said, it is endurance, it is not sprint. So just relax and understand that maybe grinding for 10 hours is gonna kill you, okay? So just, yeah. That is something I missed. I'll see you next time.